What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and this video, I want to talk about the ending of It Takes Two. Now, this will contain spoilers, obviously, considering the word ending is in the title, and it's one of the first words out of my mouth. We are going to talk about the ending of the game and just kind of discuss it. We've talked about the marriage dynamic and the divorce dynamic in past videos over the past couple days. And I want to talk about how the game ends. Does it end in a, satisfactory way? But also not necessarily a theory. I know I kind of titled it a theory, but I want to discuss what exactly is going to happen between these characters at the end of the game, because they do leave it kind of ambiguous, okay? So I'm going to leave that ambiguous up for right now. Before I get too far in, make sure, as always, you guys are subscribed. You guys have the bell icon turned on so all these videos go up. And if you guys want to follow me over on Twitter, Podcast Now 15 is my Twitter handle. Would love to have you guys over there. Hopefully, we're already at 2,000 followers by now, but if we're not, you could be the lucky number 2,000. You don't get anything from it, but you could be the lucky number 2,000, okay? I guess you get entertainment from reading my tweets, okay? Not to sound too cocky. All right, so the ending of this game. Basically, I wouldn't say you get back together, because that's a hard kind of, I guess, like sentence to put together in the way. So they're going to divorce, right, throughout this entire game. And as the game goes on, it becomes abundantly clear. Obviously, the point of the game is to get you two back together, and you have to work together. And throughout the story, literally the cutscenes, and even, I would argue, not even just the cutscenes, but the other stuff, just some of the in-between conversations you have with your two characters as you're going around the world. And a lot of these places are a little bit more open. Not an open world game, but definitely more open. And you'll have these conversations with each other. And clearly the point is to get back together. Where at the end of the game, you pretty much do. I would say you're at a point where you understand what's happened, but you also understand how to get through a lot of it. And, apologies are made throughout the whole game, and new understandings are made. Now, at the end of the game, you kiss in clay form. You come out into the real world, because that's really all you had to do. You had to basically stop fighting. I don't necessarily think kissing, you needed to necessarily kiss, but you definitely needed to kind of resolve your major issues, and that's how you get back into the real world. Obviously, Rose, their daughter, blames it all on herself, and she tries to run away, to which you catch her 30 seconds later. That was a little uneven, the ending, I'd say, overall, but I did actually really enjoy it. I really did. And one thing that I really do respect with them is when they're talking to Rose how, it's not her fault, she didn't do any of this, they do leave it open where they're not guaranteed to get back together. Now, obviously, if the game is designed to just be this perfect, haven and all the good stuff happens, like just good things happen in this game, then you would imagine that they resolve their differences and they stay together. But one thing that was kind of fluttered in there, it kind of like sprayed in there, throughout the entire game, and it was said by different characters, actually all of them, I believe, said at some point, was friendship, that they needed to become friends, even if and I would argue, even if they were to divorce, the point is they should still stay friendly with each other for Rose, at least for Rose's sake, which is an important, I guess, quality of divorcing in general. And obviously, everybody's situation is very different, and I'm not claiming to know your situation or my situation or anything like that. Every single situation is different, but I think the game does a really good job of, again, leaving it open in terms of happiness, where it's like, okay, they are happy, they're walking her back, but they never explicitly say, we're not getting a divorce, and they never explicitly say, we're staying together. In fact, I don't remember the exact quote, but I'm sure I'm going to be playing you guys the ending, so maybe we can see it throughout the dialogue, or you guys can see it. Rose kind of does bring it up a little bit, and the dad, Cody, says, no matter what happens, we love you and all this stuff, but he says, no matter what happens. To me, that is the golden line where, again, if you want to take it all as positive, they walk away, the game fades, and it's over. They get, they stay together. I keep wanting to say they get back together. Technically, they were never apart, right? They stay together, and that's the positive way. But technically, again, friendship is a big thing brought up. They never say that they're going to stay together or they're going to divorce. Well, one way or the other. You can make the argument either way. But they do say no matter what happens, meaning I think it's still possible. Now, I'm not saying I want them to divorce, okay? I actually really love their dynamic, that relationship that they did throughout this entire game. I love it. I really, really do. And there's some special conversations there that some I think will connect to some people, and some I think will connect. Well, I guess some will connect with some people, some will connect with other people, and some won't connect with anybody at all. Okay, because obviously, again, these are two fictional characters, right, that Josef has made up, and these are fictional, things that happen with them. But I think you can see a lot of potential couples or even situations, between these two in people. So I really loved it. I really did. From a standpoint of, we talked about that Eurogamer review, which I think was just complete garbage, talking about how it was basically a dangerous conversation, almost too dangerous to even put into a game. And yet I'm sure Call of Duties and Battlefields, those are completely fine. But this, It Takes Two, way too dangerous for people that are very brittle, just all throughout their body. That's an issue I have with Eurogamer and that review. But I think they handle it really well, where even if you want to be, and I would say even want to be pessimistic, and I understand that would maybe be painting you kind of as a bad guy. It's like, oh, you want them to divorce? Sometimes divorce is necessary. Sometimes divorce is the only thing you can do. Sometimes you need to get away from the person. Sometimes you need to do it for the kid in one way or the other. I mean, again, situations are this is not the golden standard. I would even say, I guess the general idea of working with each other to get through your issues is a golden standard, but every situation's differently. Maybe there's some where I won't say the reasons, but you would need to get away from the other person, or you're doing it to protect the child. I mean, again, different situations, but the general idea of working through, and especially for these two, they don't hate each other. They think they don't like each other, but in reality, it's because their passion and because of their love, and all the different lessons that they have to learn throughout the game. It's because of those things, and they are generally fixable. You can fix them, and again, in this fictional world. Obviously, it's going to take a little bit more work and effort, and it'll be a little bit different to do it in real life, but you know what I mean? So I think I really like how they did it. I like how they handled it. It was blatantly obvious that the goal is to get them back together, so the game is not about more, I guess, negative, if you want to look at it as negative, as, okay, these two are for sure breaking apart. There's no getting them back together. And again, to some people that's bad, to some people that's actually a good thing. You know what I mean? And so it depends on the situation and the person. But I like how they handled it, because I don't really have a problem with these two staying together. And if they chose to stay, to stay apart, which I do think is possible, because even if you want to look at it maybe in a more devil's advocate or a negative, way, it's like, all right, well, they've gone through it now, but it is clear throughout the game, at least in the first, I'd say like 75%, they will have nice moments with each other, but they'll still fight and kind of remember why they wanted to divorce each other in between. And the last like hour and a half is supposed to be, I think, that kind of like final bridge where it's like, okay, you're not going to go back to this is why I want to divorce you. You know what I mean? You're not supposed to go back there. But at the same time, like, who's to say a week, a month, a year later, that doesn't get re-brought up? But the thing is, the book is still around. They mention the book, right? So it's like they'll always remember this stuff. So maybe they'll never think about, divorce means they'll always think, remember when we were ice skating together in the snow globe in our clay bodies, right? So I really like it. It's a positive message and the ending is positive, but it leaves it open where it's like, if you want to be that person, and again, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, where it's like, well, they could still divorce. So there's nothing wrong with them divorcing. Well, they still could. I really do think the ending leaves it open where they still could separate. But I think no matter what, with the game teaching you all this stuff and the teaching the characters all this stuff, even if they were to get divorced, I think they would do it for, I guess, quote-unquote, the right reason. I don't think they would hate each other. I think they would still stay friends, and they'd obviously have Rose in mind when they do it, right? So let me know, guys, in the comments below, what do you think? What did you think about the ending? Did you think maybe it was too positive, or did you want them to divorce? Like, let me know maybe what you guys were expecting or wanted at the end of the game. As always, make sure you guys are subscribed. Again, bell icon turned on. Twitter, Podcast Now 15. I'll leave a link for that in the description below. Thank you all so much for watching. I really, really do appreciate it. I hope to see you all on the next video.